Welcome back to the channel. In this episode, I take you to a tank graveyard in Normandy, where tanks and other armoured vehicles lay strewn among the sand dunes, well off the beaten tourist track. Now, during my visit, France was being battered from the Atlantic by Storm Nelson. Now, unfortunately, that meant that my audio was buffeted by strong winds, and so I've had to overlay some audio in places, and I hope you don't mind. Now, the sand dunes here are estimated to be over 10,000 years old, and they cover a site of about 300 hectares, and it's positioned on the western coast of the Cotentin Peninsula. Throughout Normandy today, there are many fantastic museums. I recommend you go and visit as many of them as you possibly can. However, few, if any, vehicles remain in an abandoned state left from World War II. Among the Biville sand dunes, you can actually see World War II era Sherman tanks left here to decay in the sand dunes. Although this landscape looks beautiful now, it was once used by the French military as a direct fire weapons range, as I've already said. And it was on this ridgeline right here where the firing point was located. The tanks were left in situ, very likely unmoved from World War II, when the US was clearing the terrain on their way to securing Cherbourg. Now, from the 1970s up until 2014, these tanks were used as targets by the French military. So we're now actually walking on a target range, although now, of course, it is disused. And according to the serial number on two of the tanks, which we're going to look at today, two of these tanks were actually built in the United States in June 1944, which is obviously iconic because it's the same month as the D-Day invasion. So we come to our first armoured vehicle, and here we can see the Sherman M4. As this Hulk is the closest to any roads, it's probably no surprise that it's the one that's seen the most external damage, not necessarily from the Rangers, but from collectors, tourists, and all the rest, who have come here to perhaps collect a souvenir. In fact, I've seen pictures from about 5 years ago where this tank looked much more complete, and it's a real shame, really. On one side, the running gear looks in quite good order, but all over the Hulk you can see signs of damage. Most of it looks like scarring from smaller caliber weapon systems, but you can't miss these much larger caliber penetration marks. Now, if I look over my shoulder, you can see where the firing range was located on the ridge. So this tank was in direct line of sight, and it really did take a pummeling from those French troops as they were training up on that ridge line. I'm going to give you a 360-degree view now, so you can check out the tank without me getting in the way, and I hope you enjoy the images. From the rear, you can still see elements of the power pack, which is really quite interesting to see. Normally, these are either concealed within the hull, obviously, or they've been removed and extracted after the war. And these holes really are quite substantial. They have sliced through this metal like it was nothing. And it's quite impressive to see modern anti-armor rounds defeating the armor in this way.
So behind me is the first tank that we found, a Sherman M4, and it's absolutely peppered with holes. They look like 30mm all the way up to 50mm. And they would have been fired upon from the ridge off to my right, and I'll show you some footage of that in a second. You can see that's where the firing line was for this military range. This area has all been cleared now. There's no UXO, so it is free from explosives. But the effects of those explosives and those direct fire weapon systems can be seen on the tank right behind me. Let's see what's inside. Turret ring still looks pretty good. Driver's compartment. Turret's been blown off. Engine at the rear. Now I've seen pictures of this looking a lot more complete than it is now, so people have obviously been here and salvaged bits off it or stolen bits off it, which is why I won't disclose where the location is on this video. And here's the second tank. Beautiful location. It's a shame it's so windy today. How good is that?
So I'll do another 360 so you can see the tank in its entirety first.
Far less damage on this one. You can't see any holes on this side, any sort of indication that it's been penetrated at all, and I think that's because the range is on the other side, so we'll see if there is holes on the other side of this tank. Part of the track just in the sand, a good metre or so away from the tank itself, and it's got some very bespoke camouflage. There's no damage on this one at all. And the running gear looks pretty good as well. Tension on those tracks is looking good. I'm going to jump up onto this one to see if I can get inside and have a look as well. But this one's far more intact. I think you could probably get inside this one. So let's go and have a look. So now I'm going to have a look inside. Nice big wolf dog. The breech block, I think that's called the breech block, is still inside. You can see all inside here. I've adjusted the lighting so you can try and make it out a bit better. Still not going to come up great because it's really dark obviously inside a tank. But that is pretty cool. I said there was no damage on this, but it has got quite a bit of damage on the turret as you come around to this side, which is, the range is behind me, but these look like really small caliber. They're like 30 mil, perhaps something like that, even less. That is pretty cool. If there are any armour experts who are watching this and you know what that G stands for on the front, would love to know. I don't have a clue. I'm not an armour spotter at all. It's quite surreal to see this in the sand dunes in the middle of nowhere. Pretty awesome. It's so windy, guys. I'm sorry if you're picking up loads of the wind. Literally nothing I can do about it, but hopefully you're really enjoying this footage. These tanks are awesome. The long-haired colonel is leading the way. She's found the next tank already.
Again, I'll do a 360 so you can get a view of this Sherman. Much less to see on this one, sadly, but I love the hold down aspect to it. It's really good tactical positioning, and we train for ages to ensure the hull is concealed by the terrain. And the only thing that should be visible are the sighting systems and the guns, so that you can still observe and you can still engage if you have to. Often a really good method is what we call turret surfing, where the whole of the turret and the hull is concealed behind a feature, and the commander surfs on the turrets with his binos to peek over the ground and get a view of the terrain as the tank moves up the reverse of the slope. Probably not an endorsed method, but it's a great way of protecting your vehicle and your men.
Well, let's try and climb up this one. I know that it's already been sealed, this one. No, you can't get inside like the others. They've welded it shut. Love the tracks. Tracks instantly get my attention. I think that's what armoured vehicles are all about, isn't it? Lots of people hate the front of this particular model, but I really quite like it. I think it looks quite good. Right. Let's get up here. 3 points of contact at all times. You can see the tops have been welded shut. Just as well, really. For those tank experts out there, I am not a tank expert. This says 8208 on the top. Some sort of serial number, I guess. And 1871, wrong, 1878. Not much damage to this one either. Tank number 3, found it. It's very windy. I'm really sorry you're picking this up on the mic, no doubt, but another cool tank. We've seen 3 of them. We need to go back and get our ferry, so we are going to leave it there.
Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoy your World War II history, then why not check out some of my other videos from Normandy. Until next time.